Have you ever wondered what the first Minecraft server was? Or what Minecraft servers were like during 2009, the game's earliest days? Unfortunately, almost all of such history is lost to time, with just a handful of famous videos and screenshots remaining of what once was. During 2009, many Minecraft servers came and went, their communities, players, and accomplishments almost all but forgotten. Except for one single server which has been running since June the 10th, 2009, not even a month after Minecraft was first released. The Minecraft server, which was at one point the official server of the Minecraft subreddit and the main reason for its creation. A small community of players with some not so small history, with even Jeb joining the server multiple times. Today, I'll tell you about the Minecraft server from 2009, nerd.nu, the longest running Minecraft server in existence. Nerd.nu was founded on June the 10th, 2009 by a player named AllNaturalX. Here is the very first Reddit post of the server's announcement. The official Minecraft subreddit, now boasting well over 6 million members, was also created on the exact same day, and that's because the official Minecraft subreddit was originally made by members of this community. Known at the time as the Reddit public server, it would see almost immediate attention. An old archive of the official Minecraft server list from the 12th of June 2009, that's right, there used to be an official server list, displays the Reddit public server being one of the most popular servers at the time, with 14 players online. There was only a total of 274 people playing Minecraft at this time as well, so they had a decent percentage of the player base. Now keep in mind, back then, servers were not like what we have today. There was no survival mode, and the game was free and playable in the browser. The playable game mode was like a version of creative with a limited selection of blocks and an absolutely tiny map. It was basically just a free build server, but it was fun, regardless. There is very limited screenshots and footage from this time, but here is an old Reddit post from June the 11th, 2009, also by AllNaturalX, who shares what he called the Reddit Pyramid. Hilariously, in the first ever post on the Minecraft subreddit, a commenter mentions being banned for touching such pyramid. It seems some things still haven't changed even years later. One thing that is changing, however, is my sub count, which we need to get to 500k by the end of the year. So consider subscribing and get this badge next to your name. No pressure. Anyways, the various images which were fortunate enough to be archived only 3 days after the subreddit and server's creation are some of the earliest media present of the Reddit public server, which at the time only had about 50 members. The community would begin growing steadily, even being featured in some online articles. However, in the grand scheme of things, the server was still minuscule and had no idea they were going to be around so long. Minecraft would also branch off from classic creative into the survival we know today, leaving classic behind. As such, the oldest MC public worlds from 2009 are now all but lost to time, with only a handful of screenshots remaining that prove its existence. But as we enter 2010, the server would really begin to take shape. The MC Public Wiki, which as of today has been viewed over 27 million times, documents some of the earliest maps from 2010, or what are known as revisions. The first documented revision is of the creative map, which ran from March the 14th, 2010 until April the 11th, 2010. There are dozens of screenshots from this time displaying a beautiful classic map with pixel arts and cool creative builds scattered throughout. Furthermore, AllNaturalX's old YouTube channel has 2 videos from May 2010 displaying Creative Revision 2. The first showcases a giant inverted pyramid, but the second from a few days later is more interesting. The video showcases Rbot, or Reddit Public Bot, which seemed to be an early custom mod, or what we now know as a plugin. The bot allowed players to type a command to warp to various builds on the map, an early sign of multiplayer development. This is ultimately what also contributed to the server's early success, and AllNaturalX would continue developing the bot over the next few weeks. A massive problem early Minecraft servers faced was griefing, as there was effectively no method of protection, and since everybody was in some form of creative, breaking blocks was easy. In a later video, we can see that Rbot could detect and broadcast to the server when a player was found to be rapidly deleting blocks, warning them and likely banning them upon repeat offending. AllNaturalX would continue with his Rbot developments, and Rbot would later be able to build for you with commands, as well as connect the in-game chat to a mobile device, allowing players to talk in-game outside of the Minecraft client. Some of these early build commands are very reminiscent of Future World Edit, often used by builders today. The development of the server was truly impressive and significantly ahead of its time. Eventually, later in 2010, the server would move away from Minecraft Classic and began running on alpha versions of the game. This was also around the time Minecraft began to boom, and as such, the community would be pushed out of the official Minecraft subreddit into their own smaller corner, r/MC Public, and their IRC channels. The earliest creative map which is downloadable is Creative Revision 7, which ran from sometime in July or August 2010 until late September, ending due to map corruption. While this is the earliest documented revision, in actuality it was somewhere around the 50th revision, as the classic creative world would be reset almost every week or so. What's interesting about the old creative maps is that creative mode didn't actually exist yet in Minecraft, meaning that the creative server would have used commands such as /give or /I for blocks, as well as other commands to assist in the creative experience. Creative Revision 7 is a beauty to behold, and you can see signs from various players who were active at the time, likely unknowingly contributing to amazing history. It really did feel like a small community of players who just built whatever their heart desired. In early 2011, popular Minecraft griefing group at the time, Team Abolition, would make a series of videos griefing on the MC Public survival server. Damage was minimal, but there was significant drama between All Natural X and Team Avo, leading to a lot of views and publicity.
You guys can come in, grief our servers, we're going to ban you, we're going to roll you back, we're going to do the best to protect the buildings that our users have built on the servers.
These videos served as great promotion for the server, especially the survival server, really helping its rise in popularity. Older members of the community told me that when these videos were being released, the server was regularly seeing player counts around 80, which was very high for the time. The first survival revision began in November of 2010, and didn't even last 3 weeks due to duplication exploits, which were incredibly easy to pull off due to the inventory being stored client-side. Survival Revision 2, beginning 22nd of November 2010, is available for download, and my god is it classic. The spawn is a small little dugout with players' homes and bases mere blocks away. Chests are laden throughout the spawn pathways with items dedicated to players amongst a sea of wood and cobblestone bases. I absolutely loved flying around the survival world and seeing the lovely retro bases scattered throughout. Here is a small town surrounded by massive walls with houses owned by various players. It's things like these you just don't see anymore. And remember, the entire map had PvP enabled besides the small spawn area. A true classic survival server. Later revisions of survival would experiment with and try out new features including custom terrain, different XP gain, Prison Pel, and Citadel plugins. Notably, Prison Pel was a plugin whereby if killed by somebody, you would be sent to the end dimension with your account tied to an ender Pel, and you could only be freed if somebody threw the Pel. The killer of the player and owner of the Pel could use them as a slave and summon them back to the overworld to do their bidding. Lots of cool stuff happened on survival throughout the many revisions, but unfortunately due to issues with management and disagreements with players, it eventually shut down. A few years later in 2016, a PvP server did attempt to be established even with a clans plugin, but only lasted a few months due to unpopularity. Not everybody wanted a PvP environment, and while players back then weren't as bloodthirsty as they are today, the killing may have become annoying. As such, in January of 2011, a PvE server was opened, which is basically survival with no PvP, besides in specific areas like PvP arenas. The first 4 revisions of PvE featured some awesome custom terrain with floating islands. And my god, considering the map only lasted 2 months, the progress is astonishing. Spawn is absolutely packed with lovely stone and wood builds connected through a series of beautiful bridges over lakes and bodies of water. The more relaxed survival environment allowed players to be extremely creative with so many awesome builds utilizing the extended height of the custom terrain. I really need to emphasize how lovely the builds which were incorporated into the terrain looked, and I imagine any player who joined the server at the time would have been blown away. PvE would exceed the popularity of survival going into 2013 and 2014, featuring 28 revisions currently, utilizing various custom terrain and features throughout. Jeb has joined the server many times, even dating back as far as 2010. The subreddit has some screenshots of Jeb joining what's proclaimed as the Door-pocalypse of December 2010. Supposedly, in beta 1.1, doors had a glitch where upon breaking they would drop 2 doors, leading to a door-infested world. And this wasn't the only time Jeb would join, as there is screenshots and even a post by Jeb himself as late as 2015. What Minecraft server is so well known by developers like this? How cool! Around the same time PvE was created in January of 2011, so was Chaos. Chaos was like an extreme version of survival, with no protection of builds, chests, or anything, and with PvP and griefing allowed. You can think of it like an early form of Minecraft anarchy, with many players opting to build underground. Chaos maps suffered from hardware performance issues and as such never gained as much popularity, later being used to test snapshots and other features. Events were commonplace amongst the server throughout the years as well. Here's a great one that was shared with me in Discord. In early 2012, when jungles were first added to the game, instead of creating a new map, the admins decided to host an event where the players would follow clues around the world, which would eventually lead to a massive giant custom-built jungle tree. There was a parkour going up the jungle tree, and at the very top was a single jungle tree sapling in a chest. The winner of the event, Denevian, who shared the story with me, was solely responsible for growing and distributing jungle trees amongst the entire server, of which an entire week was spent doing so. Furthermore, one documented event from around the same time in 2012 was the 5K. A 5,000 block plus puzzle and parkour course was constructed on the PvE server that very few players of the server ended up finishing, as it took many hours. Fortunately, there is some footage of the course on YouTube. Small little community events and challenges like these are so incredibly rare these days, and considering such stories are still told almost 10 years later, it really demonstrates how fun and memorable they must have been. Almost all of the maps I've talked about today are available for download and are well documented on the MC Public Wiki, which is linked down below. It's awesome to see how well the server's various maps and game modes have been archived over the past 12 years. So, what is the server like today? Well, while the original owner, All Natural X, and many of the original players have moved on, there still exists an old community of players who've been around for over 10 years, as well as active maps and game modes. Their creative game mode, the oldest and most historical of them all, is still up and running today, currently on revision 36, which began in May of last year. The server has a basic plot and land claiming system, allowing players plenty of protected space to build by themselves or with others they wish to build with. There are various warps which exist, allowing you to tour the various builds players have worked on, of which are extremely impressive. I should also mention that the world's terrain generation has been slightly modified by World Machine, meaning there's some awesome cool terrain you can find around. Furthermore, you can use the /randlock command to visit a random location where a player has built or been, and some of the stuff you can find is pretty cool. It's an authentic creative server, of which aren't very common anymore. The server's newest addition is Skyblock. What's cool about Nerd Skyblock is that there is a signboard whereby you can warp to and visit any player's island to see what they have built. The entire Skyblock spawn feels straight out of 2012 with a PvP arena and classic design which you just don't see anymore. PvE still exists and is their most popular game mode. Currently the PvE server is on revision 28, which began earlier this year, and while PvP is disabled by default, there is an optional PvP toggle. PvE has land claims, as well as a list of nether portals to various places of activity, all viewable on their online map. There is no teleporting or warping, you have to walk the old-fashioned way. Don't worry though, it's not as treacherous and time consuming as it seems, as utilizing the /place command will display the coordinates of a nether portal, most of which are within a few hundred blocks of the nether spawn area. What I love most about the PvE server is the small towns scattered around the map, which remind me of the old days of playing survival servers where me and my friends would all set up a little town together with our own houses. Lots of the bases and towns on the server are built by groups of players who have been building and living together for years through many revisions. Most are welcoming to new players and tend to build to a theme or style. There are many towns you can visit and they are all very beautiful in their own regard. Use the online map if you do decide to do so. One other little feature I came across that I loved were the little mail boxes at spawn where players can leave you mail. It really has the old survival server feel. The server has a really nice and welcoming environment. When I logged on, a player who had been playing for almost a decade greeted me and even invited me to check out their base they were working on. Players like this are a rarity these days amongst a sea of lifeless servers with headache-inducing chats. The community really is amazing, which is a given considering its age and maturity. Everybody in the Discord was very friendly, and if you do decide to check the server out, please remember to be mature and respectful. All the links and IPs are in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video though. Be sure to subscribe and help me get to 500k by the end of the year. Thank you all so much for watching.